lesson 55. We are going to start with just a review of some of the preceding lessons, and today's lesson, lesson 55, is actually a review section in and of itself. So we are just doing a whole bunch of reviews today, but I'm going to start with lesson 1 through 20, and then we'll go ahead and dive into the summaries and reviews of today's lesson in lesson 55. So lesson 1, nothing I see means anything. Lesson 2, I have given what I see all of the meaning that it has for me. Lesson 3, I do not understand anything I see. Lesson 4, these thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 5, I am never upset for the reason I think. Lesson 6, I am upset because I see what is not there. Lesson 7, I see only the past. Lesson 8, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Lesson 9, I see nothing as it is now. Lesson 10, my thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 11, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Lesson 12, I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Lesson 14, God did not create a meaningless world. Lesson 15, my thoughts are images that I have made. Lesson 16, I have no neutral thoughts. Lesson 17, I see no neutral things. Lesson 18, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Lesson 19, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. Lesson 20, I am determined to see. And now we're going into today's lesson. Lesson 21, I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for his beloved. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Wow. Therefore, I also do not understand his Son. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. I am determined to see the witnesses to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself. Lesson 22. What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It is a picture of attack on everything by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of his Son. It is my own attack thoughts that give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace God intended me to have. Lesson 23. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I can see a world of attack. I could not see a world of attack. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now. Lesson 24. I do not perceive my own best interests. How could I recognize my own best interests when I do not know who I am? What I think are my best intentions would merely bind me closer to the world of illusions. I am willing to follow the guide God has given me to find out what my own best interests are, recognizing that I cannot perceive them by myself. Lesson 25, I do not know what anything is for. To me, the purpose of everything is to prove that my illusions are about myself are real. It is for this purpose that I attempt to use everyone and everything. It is for this that I believe the world is for. Therefore, I do not recognize its real purpose. The purpose I have given the world has led to a frightening picture of it. Let me open my mind to the world's real purpose by withdrawing the one I have given it and learning the truth about it. Y'all, this whole review is predicated on the initial statement in lesson 21, I am determined to see things differently. And I'm just reminded that when we're willing to speak this out, when we're willing to actually truly believe it at a heart level, like I actually don't see things as they are. I don't see the full picture. Immediately that predisposes you and me to be open, to hear something new, to learn something new. You know, we talked about this when we did this review of lesson 21, where it was, lesson 20 is I'm determined to see things, I'm determined to see, and then lesson 21 is I'm determined to see things differently. And I just remember when we were doing this lesson on day 21, it really helped me, because in the moment of conflict, in a moment of misunderstanding, in a moment of, you're starting to feel pressure or anxiety or stress, in that moment, it's like a sound bite, having a new narrative in our minds, a new program that we can pull on and say, you know what? No, I'm determined to see things differently, and immediately almost like de-escalates our stress. Cortisol is the stress hormone that's released. And what's so interesting is that in the moment when we start feeling anxious, we kind of self-sabotage. Cortisol actually spikes and kicks in, and we actually start releasing more cortisol. And in that moment, our breathing gets shortened, and we start breathing more shallow, quick breaths. But what's so interesting is that lack of oxygen to the brain cuts off our short-term memory. So when we start feeling really anxious, it actually kind of reminds us of the past and takes us to the past, because we forget the present here in this moment. But having a narrative, having a kind of a mantra to repeat in this moment when we start feeling the quickness of breath and we start feeling anxious, brings us back to the present moment. No, I'm determined to see things differently. And then like taking a couple deep breaths. Last night on the Knowing Show, we had a gentleman, Bennett, come and join us. And he, frankly, there was a simplicity in how he was talking about how he'll really stay present. And he's like, yeah, I do meditation, but it's not anything fancy. I can't do it for more than 20 minutes. And he said that he just started by practicing taking 10 really deep breaths. The breath itself is what flows oxygen to the brain and allows for us to actually get back to center, get back to the present moment, rather than having our short-term memory cut off and living in the fear of the past. And isn't that so much of what the future is, and fear is that we're projecting the past onto the future. And so of course we're going to be anxious, because whatever we didn't reconcile, whatever we didn't work through back there, we're projecting up ahead of us. And so that makes us feel afraid, and that makes us feel anxious and nervous. I'm just going to go ahead and jump on here in the chat for a moment. Good morning, Brian. I'm so glad to see you. Sarodi, good to see you. Johnny, hello from California. Dark Fetishes, good morning. P&P. Jane Marcus, good morning. Christy. The Man in the Hat, good morning. I would like to extend my gratitude for you sharing through your streams. You have sparked something in me for not just knowing, but understanding. Wow. Man in the Hat, thank you so much for saying that. You say something around, it's not just about knowing. Knowing really is the first step. It's, being emotionally intelligent. There's 3 steps you can say to the process of being emotionally intelligent. And it's actually in the definition. It's to be aware of, to understand, and then it's to convey. So really that first step is knowing. It's being aware. It's what's going on inside of me. And then the second part is understanding. So I love, Man in the Hat, that you just kind of honestly just said exactly the definition of emotional intelligence. It's that first it's the knowing, and then it's the understanding of it. And then after that, oh, my alarm's going off. Very loud. And then after that process of, clearly my phone is perched in my car. And then after I just had a weird minute. After we know, after we understand, then it's about conveying. And that last piece, conveying emotions, which is part of the definition of emotional intelligence, that can be the hardest one, because it's so vulnerable. It's so vulnerable and so tricky to kind of restore the relationship with ourselves. But then after that, it's okay, how do I live this? Here's the thing. We talk about vertical alignment, bringing my beliefs, my behaviors, my thoughts, my attitude, everything about me into submission to, into alignment under the hierarchy of my ideal. Who do I want to be? What am I called to do? And then with God and who he says that I am at the pinnacle. But after vertical alignment comes horizontal alignment. How do we connect while maintaining the integrity and authenticity of ourselves? And that third part, the ability to convey one's emotion, leads into the second half of the definition of emotional intelligence to handle interpersonal relationships with empathy and with wisdom. I'm just, honestly, it's funny. I had to do the reverse order. I had such a desire to be horizontally connected, but I had no roots and I had no connection with myself. So it's like I need to get vertical. And then over the last 2 years, I've had to really learn, how do I exist in relationship with other people without self-abandoning, while staying in the integrity of who God made me to be and not sacrificing that. I'm just looking through here. Oh, Cursora. Can you come to Turkey? I would love to come to Turkey. Honestly, oh, well, never mind. The reason why you said you wanted me to come to Turkey is not what I was thinking of. Josh says, I don't get anxious. I'm so glad, honestly. I think that that's such a gift. That's such a gift to not get anxious and to really be able to maintain peace. Ben Charlton, good morning. Hello. Anne Fett, good morning from Switzerland. Hello. Jay Franklin, good to see you. Zodi, hello. Hello from Russia. Y'all, I am just going to put a couple of y'all in timeout. We don't talk like this here, but I'm so glad you're here, and I would love to have y'all engage with meaningful conversation that's not inappropriate. All right. Y'all, the video feed is bad. I just saw your text. Okay, so here's the thing. Each one of us gets the opportunity to select one of these lessons from today, if we so choose. I am flying this morning, so hence why I'm in my car doing this live. You know what? I think I'm going to choose lesson 23. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts, because I realized when this was the day that we were supposed to do this lesson, I actually didn't do it. I forgot to set my alarm, and so I get this kind of opportunity to revisit it again. And frankly, I'm actually going to go to a table of contents, and I'm actually going to read. I'm going to revisit lesson 23 right now, because this is such an incredible thing. Talk about freedom. I can escape the world by giving up attack thoughts. The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. Nothing else will ever work. Everything else is meaningless. But this way cannot fail. Every thought you have make up some segment of the world you see. It is with your thoughts, then, that we must work, if your perception of the world is to be changed. If the cause of the world you see is attack thoughts, you must learn that it is these thoughts which you do not want. There is no point in lamenting the world. There is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. But there is indeed a point in changing your thoughts about the world. Here you can change the cause. The effect will change automatically. The world you see is a vengeful world, and everything in it is a symbol of vengeance. Each of your perceptions of external reality is a pictorial representation of your own attack thoughts. One can well ask if this can be called seeing. Is not fantasy a better word for such a process, and hallucination a more appropriate term for the result? You see the world that you made, but you do not see yourself as the image maker. You cannot be saved from the world, but you can escape from its cause. This is what salvation means. For where is the world you see when its cause is gone? Vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. Loveliness can light your images and so transform them that you will love them. Even though they were made of hate, you will not be making them alone. The idea for today introduces the thought that you are not trapped in the world you see because its cause can be changed. This change requires first that the cause be identified and then let go so that it can be replaced. The first two steps in this process require your cooperation. The final one does not. Your images have been replaced. By taking the first two steps, you will see that this is so. Y'all, This is so good. This is the lesson I'm choosing today. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Y'all, isn't that powerful that we get to choose? And the external world is the effect. And so really by changing our thoughts, we change so much in our lives. So what don't you like? What would you change if you could? All right, y'all, I must go. I'm so glad to see you guys. Dominic, Justin, thank you, Brian. Yes, I was reading. JN, good to see you. Greg, Bongo. All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining. It's going to be the one that I choose. Is this lesson. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. And therein lies so much power for the rest of our day if we choose to take control of our thoughts. So with that, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you tonight.